On a 77-degree early evening in the Alamo City, we are in San Antonio, Texas for Game 1 of our TNT doubleheader in the East region of the NCAA Tournament. It's the Friars of Providence, the number 11 seed winners of the Big East Conference Championship, and the number 6 seed, the Tar Heels of North Carolina, by way of the ACC. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Steve Kerr. Will be joined momentarily by Craig Sager working the sideline. Should be a pretty good matchup here today, with Providence coming off a win over Doug McDermott and Creighton. North Carolina struggled last couple of games. Providence head coach Ed Cooley in his 3rd season with the Friars, and he has led Providence to their first 20-win season in 10 years. As we check out the lineups for Providence, LaDontae Henton, who averages 14 a game. Tyler Harris, Kadeem Batts on the front line. In the backcourt, Josh Fortune and Bryce Cotton, the MVP of the Big East Tournament and the 10th leading scorer in the nation. The Tar Heels with James and Michael McAdoo. He's their leading scorer, averaging 14 a game. Kennedy Meeks, J.P. Tokuto up front, Leslie McDonald, and the point guard Marcus Page in the backcourt. The head coach, Hall of Famer Roy Williams. He has won 2 national championships, reached 7 Final Fours. The officiating crew, Chris Verstatter, Bo Borowski, and Kevin Brill. And we're underway as McAdoo opens up by hitting the short pop.
Providence starts out, Marv, in their zone that was so effective against Creighton. North Carolina has had all week to prepare for it. This is what they expected. The Tar Heels, not a good three-point shooting team. They're thinking they're going to see zone most of the night.
Nice backdoor pass. And that's Cotton, who averaged 21 a game to lead the Friars in scoring. There was the thought that Roy Williams might make changes in the starting lineup, thinking about the possibility of Bryce Johnson and Nate Britt, a freshman backcourt man, but he has stayed with his usual starting 5. This is Page from deep, and it's McAdoo on the follow.
And Marv, this is the question for Providence. The zone might be effective against a poor shooting Carolina team, but can they rebound? Carolina's got a lot of athleticism across their roster, so imperative for Providence to get a body on people. Box out.
That's able to drill it, and we will be switching networks shortly to continue to see this game tuned to TNT after the Oklahoma State Gonzaga game. Providence dressed in black, North Carolina in their usual blue, as Cotton pulls it up and hits.
Providence will get out and run. I mean, it's not like they want to slow everything down. They're going to run at opportunity. What they want to do more than anything is slow down Carolina's fast break as Kennedy Meeks knocks down the jumper.
Well, both clubs hitting their shots here at the start. Providence 23-11 overall, 10-8 in the Big East, but won the Big East tournament with that victory over Creighton. The Friar zone so effective against Creighton's high-power offense. Foul is called on McAdoo.
You see Cotton knocking down the jumper in transition. The most outstanding player of the Big East tournament. Came into Providence without another scholarship offer anywhere. And in fact, several of these players kind of play with a chip on their shoulder as a result of being under-recruited.
Beautiful pass. Cotton with the setup for Tyler Harris. Providence up by 3. As they have opened up by hitting 4 of their first 5 from the field. That's the first miss for North Carolina. Meeks is stopped and pops it back out. This is Page. Scoops it underneath Meeks. Well, Providence thought it was an up and down. Did not get the call.
Might have gotten away with it. Meeks, a talented freshman, has actually lost 40 pounds, but continues to work at the conditioning. But very soft hands. You see the ability to score down low.
Still goes, what, 290, 6'9". Strong move, and a foul is called. Batts taking to the rim. This is only the 4th time that these two schools have met. The last time was February of 1979, and North Carolina won it by 34 points.
Remarkable when you think about the great basketball tradition that each school would have thought they would have met more than 4 times. It's an interesting matchup. Carolina's going to play a lot of people. They'll go deep into their bench. Providence, the exact opposite. They'll play one player, Carson DeRozier, off the bench. Ed Cooley just goes 6 deep, and that's all. In fact, 4 of his starters played 40 minutes in that Big East tournament final against Creighton last weekend.
McAdoo just picked up a second foul, so he sits down, and now Bryce Johnson, a 6'9" sophomore, has come on.
That's a big play. McAdoo, so important to this team, particularly offensively. He's the guy they run their offense through with the zone. He's the one who camps at the foul line. They like to hit him at that spot where Hubert just caught the ball, but McAdoo much more adept at creating offense at that position.
And Desmond Hubert also checking in.
Rebounds today, Mark, so important. Carolina has been outboarded badly the last 2 games against Duke and Pittsburgh. Really just got crushed, and Roy Williams has made that a major focus of this week's practices.
Once again, LaDontae Henton, who averages 14 a game. North Carolina on the quick transition, and Bryce Johnson is in the scorebook.
It's the kind of play that they didn't face against Creighton. Creighton doesn't have the athletes that Carolina does, so they couldn't push the ball ahead. So that zone was very effective. Providence is going to have to get back every possession, made or missed, or Carolina will run right by them.
Cotton is played by Page. Hubert jumping out to try and help. Here's Cotton with the shot clock running down. It's swept by Johnson. McDonald from the angle, and he hits. And Leslie McDonald has had difficulty with the shot as of late. He played well in both games against Duke. Those his highlights of the season.
Very capable three-point shooter. Basically, you're looking at Page and McDonald from the three-point line, and that's it. It's an important shot for McDonald. Carolina always looking for a third scorer. And when McDonald can be that guy, Carolina is much tougher to beat.
Steve, I don't want you to change your style, but we are back on TNT. Oh, what a move, but it will not count. He was fouled before the shot, so Cotton will go to the line.
Taking it one comment at a time, Marv.
Yes.
Take it as it comes. Cotton, nice move there. And Carolina and Providence in a good one.
Good advice for youngsters also.
Absolutely, Marv. See how Carolina can adapt.
Deflected out. Last touched by Tokoto of North Carolina.
You know, when you watch Providence, Marv, it's kind of old school basketball. They run what's called the flex offense, which is something that's been around for a long time. They don't get the great spacing and all the three-point shooting that a lot of teams get, so they really try to pound you and set hard screens in the paint.
Nice move again by Henton. 6'6" junior out of Lansing, Michigan. Providence with a 1-point lead. Good entry pass, and Bryce Johnson.
We got a lot of players, Marv, who are bouncy. They can really get up off the floor, can run the floor. And a different animal for Providence to deal with as opposed to that last game against Creighton.
Carson DeRozier, the one player off the bench who does see action, is checking. Cotton's shot blocked by Johnson. Scramble for the loose ball. Here come the Tar Heels. They have a 3-on-1. McDonald, yes. Leslie McDonald with 5 points to open things up.
Huge baskets for McDonald, who many Carolina folks feel is the X factor. When he makes shots, this team tends to win. And This is the kind of hustle play that leads to open threes in transition. I think they're going to look at that. It may have been a 2, but hot start for McDonald.
Spotlight, Ed Cooley, in his 3rd season as the head coach of the Friars. Spent 5 years as head man at Fairfield. Quite a year for Ed Cooley and his family. At the moment, he and his wife and 2 children are living at an extended stay hotel, and off the break, so Fortune able to play at home. Fire in the home, Steve, caused smoke and water damage, so the family had to leave. Construction crews are working on it and putting the home back together, and they hope to move back home in short time. This has been going on since, what, January?
Yeah, a lot going on for the family, and we had a chance to meet them yesterday. First of all, it was like comedy hour with Ed Cooley when he came to visit us. I mean, he's got some personality. And then his son Zeke came over and joined us, and felt like Zeke might take Ed's coaching job in the next couple of years. He knew everything about this Providence team.
Carson DeRozier.
There you see the Cooley family.
This is Nate Britt, freshman point guard, just checked in. Page, excellent shooting here by North Carolina, and they're up by 1.
Good game. Wow, this is a really good matchup. I think the question for Providence, can they keep this up for 40 minutes with such a short rotation? Carolina is bringing in players in waves, and as we talked about, extremely athletic team. They've been up and down all year.
Off the outlet once again. North Carolina able to beat Providence down court, toe-to-toe with the finish.
I think they have shocked Providence with their speed, Mark. As we've seen a couple of baskets already off of made hoops. Providence just not getting back in transition.
Foul committed by Bryce Cotton. And a timeout is called. North Carolina with a 21-18 lead on Providence. Steve, that's exactly what they've been doing here at the start against Providence.
Yeah, 7-2 edge on the boards as Bats can't get the lob from DeRozier. But when you can rebound, you can run. And they've beaten Providence up the floor 3 or 4 times here in the early going.
Nice ball movement. McDonald unable to hit. And the follow by Bryce Johnson.
Tell you, between Johnson and Tokido and McAdoo, I mean, they've got some thoroughbreds. These guys really bounce off the floor, quick second chance opportunities. And Providence has just been shell-shocked to this point. They've got to adapt to this kind of speed.
Joel James has come on for North Carolina following a timeout and a foul. That'll send Henton to the line as we check in with Craig.
Well, I'm sitting right in front of Marcus Page's parents, Alice and Cheryl, and I commented to Cheryl, his mom, I said, how articulate and well-spoken her son was. And she said, well, he better be. I'm an English teacher. By the way, she's also a basketball coach. So a very proud mom sitting right behind me, Cheryl, and Marcus's father, Ellis. Back to you.
In fact, Ed Cooley, after playing at Stonehill College, he was a 3-time captain of the basketball team, taught history in high school, and then went into coaching. Correction, it's Tyler Harris at the line. Now here are more substitutions as James Michael McAdoo comes back in. Jackson Simmons will check in. So Roy Williams going through a good portion of his roster here at the start.
This is by design, trying to wear down Providence. And if you look at an up-close view of Tyler Harris, if he looks familiar, he's the brother of Tobias Harris, one-time Tennessee player, currently with the Orlando Magic. Also a first cousin of Channing Frye and the Phoenix Suns, so some good bloodlines in that family.
Little family history being provided.
If you want any other information on cousins, uncles, I can provide that for you later.
Thank you. North Carolina up by 4. They come in as the number 6 seed. McDonald coming up short, but McAdoo is right there.
McAdoo back in with the 2 fouls and will be counted on by Roy Williams to avoid that 3rd. This is the edge of being able to play deep into your rotation. You can deal with foul trouble a lot easier.
Cotton had the right idea, but a tough pass to handle by Batts.
Just quickness to the ball. So many guys who have the ability to get those second chance opportunities. And Providence, when you play zone, it's much more difficult to box out. And the rebounding, as you see here, normally an excellent rebounding team. It went away the last couple of games, and Roy Williams has gotten his club back at it. Turnover there, forced out of the trap of Providence.
Pass intended for Isaiah Hicks. Joel James has checked back in. A lot of shuffling being done here in the first half by North Carolina against a Providence team that, as you mentioned, plays only 6 players.
In fact, the lowest scoring bench in the entire country.
There's no bench.
There is none. They get 5 points a game off the bench. Basically, Carson DeRozier scores about 4. And that's it. Everybody else could go the full 40.
Bryce Cotton plays about 38, 39 points a game, and an offensive foul.
That was on Batts. Really good anticipation from McDonald, who slides in front. That was a close one, but the call goes against Batts. And Carolina just continues to come at Providence in waves.
Marcus Page has returned, replacing Nate Britt. An 8-1 run by North Carolina. Halfway through this first half. Pass broken up by Batts. North Carolina 23-9 overall, 13-5 in the ACC, starting at 0-3 in the league. The Tar Heels won 13 of their next 14 games and lost 2 games at Duke in their season finale after beating Duke in their previous meeting at Chapel Hill. Lost to Pitt in the ACC tournament, so did not end this season well. And a foul called. It is on Providence.
That may be on Batts, which would be his 2nd. And it is. So DeRozier will come in for Batts. And Providence cannot withstand foul trouble tonight. That's just something that they're not going to be able to deal with. So Ed Cooley will have to mix and match with DeRozier and Batts here. Final 9.5 minutes of the half.
Here's the lob. Oh, McAdoo missed it. James not able to hit on the follow. And it's deflected out last touch by the Tar Heels.
Boy, McAdoo would like to have that one done. Perfectly set up. This is a play Carolina has run forever. And Page put it on the money. Just fumbled it.
Cotton is played by Page. Fortune makes the turn. Here's Cotton off the screen. And on the follow, it counts and the foul. LaDontae Hinton will head to the line.
Feels like Providence is kind of lucky to be within 4. They've been thoroughly outplayed. We saw the rebounding totals. But this is a resilient team. They are going to continue to get after it. They hit the offensive glass. Hinton hit the big shot last week against Creighton late. He was a clutch player. And Ed Cooley could not stop talking about him yesterday in our meeting.
7 points for Hinton. James called on that foul. Here's some light pressure as Fortune hangs back. And North Carolina able to get it across. Page up top. Page fires for 3. Marcus Page, who arrived at North Carolina as one of the top point guard prospects in the nation, recently playing through a sore left thumb. Averages 17 a game. And it's chased down. Back comes Tokuto. McAdoo from in close. Now Cotton on the run. Cotton all the way and scores.
Right back at Carolina, and I like that. Your team wants to run on you. You've got to make them pay sometimes, especially when they're attacking the offensive glass like Carolina is. If you get the opportunity, you've got to get out in transition. Providence does a nice job there.
7 points for Bryce Cotton. McAdoo. Here comes Cotton again. To the reverse. And the tip.
Roy Williams thought it was basket interference, but I think that was the right call. It looked like the ball came off the cylinder before the tip from Harris.
Tyler Harris with the bucket. McAdoo. This game is being played at such a fast pace.
Yeah, it's fun. And McAdoo is just camping in the middle of the lane against that zone. He's getting the ball right in front of the hoop pretty much every time. He just has to score over the top of DeRozan.
8 points for McAdoo. He's playing with the 2 fouls. Took his eye off the ball. So North Carolina back in possession, but first a timeout. 7 minutes, 11 seconds remaining. First half. North Carolina up by 4. Steve Kerr, Craig Sager, as we look at our first half summary. Both teams shooting well. Providence 11 of 17, North Carolina 14 for 27.
10 extra field goal attempts. Some of that is the offensive rebounding. You've got 5 more offensive boards than Providence does, and then also the turnovers have been an issue for Providence.
Nice pass on the hop. McAdoo goes back door and is able to hit Kennedy Meeks.
Such a huge advantage, Marv, when you're going against a zone to have a big target in the middle like McAdoo. Carolina guards can just throw the ball up in the air, and he's going to go up and catch it right below the foul line, and it causes all kinds of issues for the defense.
Double up on Harris. Try to get it to Fortune, and it's picked off. It's a 3-on-2 for North Carolina. Page is off. And it's deflected out. Last touch by the Tar Heels.
You know, we've seen a lot of basketball, or a lot of college basketball in particular the last few weeks, and Carolina has so many athletes. They're loaded with talent. The problem for Roy Williams, the pieces haven't quite fit this year. Part of that is the loss of P.J. Hairston, who was suspended by the NCAA for improper benefits, I guess is the correct term. But without him, they lack that wing shooter that would really round out their team, and that's been the missing ingredient.
Well, he's a man who averaged 14 a game last year as a sophomore. He has been a major loss, and at one point there was labeled post P.J. Hairston depression, which apparently hurt the Tar Heels right at the start.
Yeah, with Hairston, I mean, this is a Final Four team. You look at the talent on the front line, one of the best point guards in the country in Page, and Hairston was a lethal three-point shooter and defender. But the lack of three-point shooting around Page has been the reason why Carolina hasn't been able to have an outstanding season. Still good, just not elite.
And a foul is called on Tokoto. 17th foul on North Carolina. He will take a seat. You can watch live games on your Amazon Kindle, Android device, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. 1-on-1 situation for Hampton. The winner between North Carolina and Providence will play the winner of our second game tonight, matching Iowa State and North Carolina Central. That is coming up later on.
Providence extending to this half-court pressure. Ed Cooley changing his defenses constantly, trying to keep Carolina off balance, but too much of this.
Nice pass from Britt. Hakes could not score, and then he does on the follow.
They've gotten the ball right to the front of the rim at will.
8 points for Meeks. He's hit 4 of 7, all from the post, in close.
And this is where you really miss Bats. And just his presence at the rim would sometimes be enough to thwart a play like that, as Cotton gets fouled on the jump shot.
Foul on Britt. So Bryce Cotton, an 85% free throw shooter, will go to the line, averaging 21 a game, leading the Friars in scoring, averaging 6 assists. Shoots 41%, 37 from three-point line. Let Upwave help you bring out your inner beast. For tips and advice on how to keep your body at its best, check out upwave.com/basketball. It is a 4-point lead for North Carolina.
Feels like more, doesn't it? The way they've attacked, but this is what Providence does. They hang around. In fact, Ed Cooley told us yesterday, he just wants to get to the last 4 minutes with a chance to win. And this team has won an awful lot of close games because of its grit.
Both clubs shooting well. A lot of quick shots at both ends of the court, but they're hitting their shots. Still 4.5 left in this first half. Cotton pulling it back. The ball knocked aside, and they get a fast break for the Tar Heels. McAdoo at the finish, and it's knocked out of his hands. North Carolina fans feel there should have been a foul call. Appeared to be contact.
Roy Williams agrees. Fortune recovered well and got a hand on the ball. The question is, does he foul McAdoo? And yeah, probably, but good hustle getting back and making a play.
Tar Heels put it in play. And now that is a foul. Tokuto hit by DeRozier.
And the requisite sarcastic cheer coming from the Carolina fans. Here's the contact. It actually might have been cleaner than the other one. Either way, when you attack and you continue to go to the rim, eventually you're going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Tokuto only a 49% free throw shooter.
In fact, Marv, that's one of the reasons Ed Cooley has talked about just getting to the final 4 minutes of the game and keeping it close, because Carolina, this is the worst free throw shooting team in Carolina team history, 62%. Providence, meanwhile, at 78%, second in the entire country. You see the numbers there. So in a close game down the stretch, we'll see if that is a factor.
And a steal. Fortune's pass to a spin move off the steal. It was Tokuto taking it the distance.
My goodness.
And that is a tie-up. The possession arrow favoring Providence.
Now watch this. I have a feeling we're going to see this a few more times tonight on the highlights. Oh, the spin and the finish. J.P. Tokuto.
Marv, Steve, Craig.
All right, thank you, Ernie. And as we resume here in San Antonio, it will be Providence ball off that tie-up. The possession arrow favoring the Friars. Fortune couldn't find anybody, now gets it in.
Mark, you look at the numbers, it's just shocking. Carolina has 35 field goal attempts to just 19 for Providence. And again, some of it offensive boards, a lot of it turnovers. Providence has to be stronger with the ball, particularly in the backcourt.
Good job by Hinton getting to his rebound and putting it home. Well, Providence with 4 turnovers without a field goal prior to that bucket by Hinton in the last 3 minutes.
If you're not strong with the ball against Carolina and they can force some turnovers, I mean, they're just going to roll right past you.
Bryce Johnson tried to get it down low, so the ball back to the Friars. Providence 23-11 overall, 10-8 in the Big East. They won the Big East tournament with a terrific defensive performance using the zone to hold Creighton and their high-power offense, including Doug McDermott. What a game by Doug McDermott earlier today. Particularly a strong first half and finished with 30 points in their victory over Louisiana Lafayette.
That tournament win is Hinton misses on the jumper. The Big East tournament win was really important because this was a bubble team going into that game. There was talk about Providence maybe going to Dayton. So that win really solidified their spot in the field.
Page is off. And Cotton will walk it up. Earlier today, prior to the Creighton victory, Baylor beat Nebraska 74-60. Nebraska with a season-low 16 points in the first half. 2 minutes to go in this first half.
Back to that flex offense, a series of down picks, side picks, and then it results in a high screen for Cotton.
DeRozan, he thought it was fouled.
Looked like he did get bumped by Meeks.
And a foul is called. Off the drive by Tokutu, he was hit from behind. Foul is on Harris of Providence.
Well, we've talked about the dominance statistically by Carolina. The reason it's a 5-point game. Providence 12 for 23 from the field, and they've made 7 free throws compared to just 1 for Carolina. So they're just hanging around, which is what Ed Cooley had hoped for.
He's getting it down low. And a whistle foul is called. On North Carolina.
McAdoo with his 2 fouls. Bats for Providence also with 2. And the Friars have been able to survive here with Bats on the bench the last 5 minutes. That's a great sign.
Foul is on Meeks. Coming up on AT&T at the half. Get you caught up. All the latest tournament news, highlights, and updates. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half. 1-1. Rosen not able to take advantage.
Providence back to its man-to-man. This was a team that played mostly man-to-man during the regular season. DeRozan fouls Page. We'll get a couple of free throws. In fact, Ed Cooley told us before the game against Creighton, he told his club they were going to play zone, and they were all sort of shocked. This is a team that has relied heavily on man-to-man, and the zone worked. The players trusted him. The game plan worked to perfection, and they pulled off the upset. And here they are trying to do the same thing to Carolina, slow them down any way they can.
Roy Williams, incidentally, does not have very fond memories of his previous NCAA tournament games here in the Alamo City. His teams lost both. Kansas Jayhawks losing to Illinois in a regional semifinal, and his Tar Heels losing to Kansas in the 2008 Final Four. Is quick to bring that up. Has to be satisfied with what he's seen of the Tar Heels in the first half. Oh, high off glass. Will it count? Yes, it does.
I think they may have waved it off, Mark. It looked like at the last second, one of the officials stepped in and waved it off, and we're going to have 2 free throws now for Cotton.
Number 11, Bryce Cotton.
Now they say no basket, so Cotton 85% at the line with the 2 shots.
That's exactly how Ed Cooley wants Cotton to attack. When he can get going to his strong right hand, he's really tough to stop.
Collision at center court.
Hubert got called for the foul on a hard screen. Roy Williams can't believe it. He thought it was a perfectly legal one. Let's take a look, see if he is set. Very, very close.
Fortune shaken up, but looked over the bench, said, I'm all right. There's Cotton on a fadeaway. Beautiful touch. 13 points for the senior Bryce Cotton.
It averages 21, and he gets to the line, Marv, over 7 times a game. So we've seen the jump shot, and Cotton with the ability to get to the free throw line as well. And Providence has to feel really good here heading into the half.
But a 4-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. North Carolina looking to play it down, and foul is committed by Harris. Tyler Harris, it is his second personal. Providence with their 6th team foul, so it's not shooting.
We've seen Providence do that a couple times now, Marv, where they sort of pretend like they're going to sit back in a zone, and then once the ball is advanced past half court, their guards race forward. Here it comes again to try to trap the Carolina player.
Page. Would have been spectacular. Little flip reverse. Cotton chases it down. It's Cotton driving to the hoop and not able to score. Went wide, and that'll do it for this first half. Will not count, yes.
Pulled down, but Meeks just threw that thing in from half court.
Bryce Cotton leading the way for Providence with 13. LaDontae Henton with 11. 8 apiece for James Michael McAdoo. And Kennedy Meeks comes up with 8 in the first half. Let's go to Craig with Roy Williams.
Well, Coach, you started substituting 3 minutes into that half. 11 players have seen action. How much of that is pregame design? How much are you searching for the right combination?
A little bit of both, Craig, but James Michael got 2 quick fouls, so that was the reason of the second substitution. And then Bryce got 2 fouls, so that made us substitute even more. But a little bit of both. But we got to play better, and we got to have some breaks go our way a little bit better than those last 2.
All right, thank you very much. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Craig, here's that shot right at the end of the half.
I said it was Meeks. It was obviously Page. He just fires it up there well after the clock expired, but got a good rise out of the crowd.
And it was effortless, but will not count. So, at halftime, North Carolina 39 and Providence 36 will send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You are watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
We did not play our best half of basketball, and we're down 3. I gotta get something from you. I gotta get something from you. I gotta get something. Energy, personality, a deflection, right? They suck to the ball, and guys gotta be confident. Guys gotta be really, really confident. I didn't think we played our best 20 minutes, but again, you gotta keep grinding through it. Keep grinding through it.
Moments ago, that the seat of the Providence locker room, head coach Ed Cooley addressing his team. And Steve, the question is, can Providence, with their 6-man rotation, stay with the waves of players that we're seeing from North Carolina?
Well, they've got to feel pretty good, Marv, as Ed Cooley said. I mean, this was a half that was played in North Carolina's pace. Providence was dominated on the glass early. Kadeem Batts was on the bench with foul trouble, and here it is, a 3-point game. They've got to take care of the easy stuff. They can't allow Carolina the fast break baskets, the runouts, the turnovers. If they can clean those things up, they can get the game back at their tempo. And if it's close in the last 4 minutes, you never know with Carolina's foul shooting. So a lot could go right for Providence if they can just handle their business here.
There's hard driving move and score. Incidentally, Carson DeRozier is starting this second half instead of Kadeem Batts.
Now, Batts has fouled out of 10 games this year, Marv, and I'm surprised he's not starting the second half, but it's a sign that Ed Cooley's just trying to manage those fouls, maybe get down to the 15-16 minute mark before he brings them back in.
Good ball movement. McDonald for 3. Kept alive, beautifully done. Kennedy Meeks has come up very strong here tonight.
And the rebounding once again an issue for Providence. Here comes Batts. He's going to check in a moment. After those 2 quick offensive boards for Carolina, you can see why.
Meeks 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 on the offensive glass. That pass play broken up. Done by Turkoglu, leading to this. Marcus Page. So the Tar Heels up by 5.
Those are the plays I'm talking about, Marv. A turnout, a turnover, a run out. There's just no defense for that. Providence has to play a solid half of basketball in terms of handling the ball. And then they can get into their offense, get the tempo to their liking.
clock is at 7. Cotton trying to split through and nearly traveled and was bailed out by the foul. It's called on McDonald.
A little adjustment from Carolina here. They've actually played zone here the last couple of possessions. I think they've thrown Providence out of rhythm, leading to that turnover and fast break basket. And, traditionally, Carolina, a team that plays mostly man-to-man, but this year they've played zone. In fact, they threw a zone at Duke in that first meeting. That helped turn the tide in that game, allowed Carolina to get back in and actually win.
And once again, the Tar Heels on the run. McDonald is fouled. Leslie McDonald, who had struggled recently, averaging 10 points for the season. Foul was called on Cotton. McDonald got off to the good start. From McAdoo. Beautiful setup from Payne.
Remember, they ran that play in the first half and had a wide open dunk that McAdoo fumbled. This time, he makes sure of himself. Beautiful. Got another turnover from Cotton.
It's a 3-on-1. McDonald. He is fouled. Right now, North Carolina has matched its biggest lead of the game.
Here's that play against the zone. The backside is always vulnerable, and if you can get a screen on that backside big, there's nobody there because the center man, that time Batts, is coming up towards the foul line. And that play has been wide open for Carolina.
Foul committed by Cotton is second. McDonald to the line, just a 63% free throw shooter. Coke Zero wants to know, are you a real fan? Hashtag prove it. Visit the Coke Zero social arena in March Madness live. We talked earlier about the poor free throw shooting on the part of North Carolina. 62% as a team. That's the lowest in school history. Lowest in the ACC. That's a tough way to win games.
Well, close games especially. And, you end up with some nerves on the line. The fans get nervous. You can kind of feel the angst in the building. Let's see if Providence can do a better job against this 3-2 zone that Carolina has thrown out.
7 unanswered points for North Carolina. Providence now having difficulty locating shots. The shot clock to 5. Here's Cotton for 3.
Oh, big shot. Providence needed that one.
He is a 37% shooter from downtown. It's a 5-point Tar Heel lead. Pass off the mark. It's deflected. So Carolina will throw it in. Roy Williams in his 11th season as the head coach at North Carolina. Spent 15 highly successful years at Kansas. Nice pass. A bullet thrown by Topica.
And another breakdown from Providence defensively. I don't know what's going on these out-of-bounds plays. Providence has had plenty of time to prepare, and yet they've been exposed on that backside of their defense time and again.
North Carolina's front line has done well. 12 points for McAdoo, 10 for Meeks. 4 minutes in. Second half. Harv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager, Cotton with a crossover. And the reverse. Oh,
baby.
Bryce Cotton crossing it and then able to score off the reverse. He has the last 11 points for the Friars. Meeks, very friendly rim.
I'll say. That looked way off the mark, but a soft touch for the big man. Carolina looks like they're going to go back to the man-to-man after 5 or 6 possessions of zone. The foul there on McDonald. But Bryce Cotton single-handedly took Carolina out of that zone with a long 3 and a couple of drives into the paint.
3 on McDonald. Here's that move by Cotton. How about Kennedy Meeks, the freshman from Charlotte, having a superb game, 6 of 8, 12 points. Back in San Antonio, here's the Powerade Sideline Report. Let's go to Craig.
Well, quite a contrast in our coaches tonight. Ed Cooley in his first NCAA tournament game ever as a head coach. Meanwhile, on the other side, Roy Smith directing his 24th NCAA team and his 84th game. I talked to Ed Cooley. He says, listen, I'm enjoying this, don't get me wrong, but I'm nervous as hell. He says, I've got a lot of stress. I'm doing the best I can. To help relieve that stress, he got up this morning and ran 5 miles, as he's done virtually every day since last summer when he was determined to lose weight. He's dropped 127 pounds.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, remarkable.
On his fortune, coming up short, and a foul. It is called on Page of North Carolina. That's his second. Bryce Cotton has scored the last 11 points for Providence. Last 4 of the first half, first 7 of the second half.
Yeah, they need to get some other people involved, though. Kadeem Batts is a little out of sorts with the foul trouble. He's just never gotten into a rhythm here. 1 field goal attempt the entire game, 1 for 2 from the line. And, of course, he's dealing with an awfully athletic Carolina front line as well.
So Hendon hits both. He has 13 points. Here's some pressure shown by Providence, and it provides a problem. Let's see what the call is going to be. The officials talk it over, and they say it'll be Providence ball.
Roy Williams wanted a foul on Henton, who came over and possibly bumped Leslie McDonald before the ball went out of bounds. Here's a look. Watch the bump there, and then as a result, McDonald goes out of bounds. Probably should have been a foul called. You hear the Carolina fans booing. Let's hope McDonald's okay. You know, normally, or contact like that, if it's incidental, the officials will let it go. But I think in that case, the contact caused McDonald to fumble the ball. That's why I think probably there should have been a call. You see, he was shielding Henton, kind of boxing him out, and was getting ready to catch kind of an awkward pass, like a short hop. And I think he would have had it cleanly if he hadn't been bumped, and that's what Roy Williams' argument is.
Brick has come on for McDonald. Cotton getting it into the corner. They swing it out. Cotton with a shot. And it's deflected out of bounds. And let's see, it'll be North Carolina ball.
There's a good little box out right here, and that could have been a foul too. That's why you hear Carolina faithful in the background. They're starting to get a little anxious with the officiating.
Page and Britt now in the backcourt. Donald takes a seat. Is Page, Coach jumper, Marcus Page with 11.
You know, he has been a second half scorer this year, Marvin. You like that out of your point guard. Kind of see what's happening in the game in the first half, get everybody involved, and then attack. That's what Page has done. Let's see if that jumper gets him going here.
7-point North Carolina lead. Cotton puts the move on Britt. Hands off to Fortune, very close to a travel. A spinning move. Fortune is way off. Got glass.
Providence unable to really get into their offense. Here's Page again.
A catch and shoot by Page.
All that flex offense, all that screening action we saw in the first half has really been taken away by Carolina. We're seeing a lot of high screen roll with Cotton to foul down low on Carolina. Kadeem Batts tried to establish position.
It's on Hubert. Desmond Hubert, Jr. from New Jersey, who is a strong defensive player. McAdoo able to grab that rebound.
Well, Harris had 2 decent looks at it, but that athleticism tough to deal with.
Page not able to hit. Save attempt. And a push. Foul is called. It is on Providence. And for Batts, it is number 3. And he has not been able to get into it.
And here comes DeRozier to take his spot. So a frustrating evening for Kadeem Batts.
Averages 12 a game. 6'9", 245-pound senior. Has a nice outside touch, but has not gotten into the game at all. Page makes the turn. Here's Britt trying to get to the rim. Deflected out by DeRozan. Now Bryce Johnson checking back in for the Tar Heels.
That's what we were talking about earlier, Mark. Fewest bench points per game. Providence, a team that only plays 6 players. And Carolina, meanwhile, has gone deep with its reserves, trying to wear down this Friar team.
But the follow by Johnson.
That's as good as an assist for Britt. Just put it up on the glass. When you know you have that kind of athleticism and you're getting so much production on the offensive glass, just throw it up there. Let your teammate take care of the rest.
This represents the biggest lead of the night for North Carolina. Cotton played by the freshman Britt, putting all kinds of moves on. And able to bank it home.
He is putting on a show. 22 points now for Cotton, but it feels like he's having to do too much. The Providence offense really isn't involving anybody else.
Here's Page trying to make the turn, but by the double. McAdoo is open. Back to a shot. Back comes Cotton. Accelerates. And scores. Is he quick? Bryce Cotton, which leads to a North Carolina timeout.
Well, they're hanging around, Mark, trying to get to that last 4 minutes with a chance. That's what Ed Cooley has talked about. But Providence trying to deal with this springy front line from Carolina. Bryce Cotton keeping his team in it.
Let's take a look at our second half summary. 16 additional field goal attempts for North Carolina, 24-52. Providence, 18 of 36. Big edge off the boards for the Tar Heels and points in the paint.
And for Providence, it's all Bryce Cotton, 5 of 6, 11 points in the second half. The rest of the team has not made a field goal, 0 for 5. So no offensive rhythm. Everything is just kind of high isolations or ball screens for Cotton. He's going to need some help.
Providence down by only 5. North Carolina has led most of the way. So that's 7 points now for J.P. Tokito.
That shot is there for him all game against this zone. We talked about their lack of three-point shooting. Providence really packing the paint, with the exception of Marcus Page. When he's on the floor, they're going to shade the zone towards Page. Everybody else should have an open look.
That was way off. And here's a 2-on-1. Marcus Page with the finish. And back comes Providence. Tyler Harris. This is not the style that Providence wants to play. Page.
Well, you got that right. Well, this is Carolina's pace for sure, but somehow Providence within 7 and now 4.
A three-pointer for Harris. It is a 4-point game. 10.5 remaining second half. McAdoo.
And Mark, this could get to the point quickly where Carolina will start to feel the pressure. Just, you know, the nerves of having played so well in many ways and yet only having a 4-point lead. If Providence can make a little push here and start to control the tempo a little bit better. Right, North Carolina, you can tighten up a little bit down the stretch.
Cotton puts moves on. Cotton with the spin. It scores. 26 points for Bryce Cotton. Providence within 2 by virtue of a 7-0 run.
Let's see if the game slows down a little bit here.
Wild pass deflected out. Last touch by the Friars. And a timeout is called. Head coach Ed Cooley very pleased with his club as he greets them walking out towards center court.
Well, welcome back to San Antonio, where Bryce Cotton is trying to keep the Providence Flyers in the game. I'm with his mom, Yvonne, who drove from Tucson. Took you 12 hours. What you got in your hand there?
Cotton candy. Cotton balls. Every time he shoots, throw it up.
Are you running out of cotton balls?
Oh, we have more. We have more. We have enough. They're going to get this.
How confident are you?
I have faith. I'm very confident.
All right. Plenty of cotton balls left, Marv.
Well, he's attempted 17 shots. He's 10 for 17 from the field. He has had a sensational game and has kept the Friars in it. They're down by only 2. North Carolina in possession. 5 on the shot clock. McDonald. And a 3 on the shot clock. Rebounded by Cotton. Cotton on the run. Off the wing. Game is tied as Cotton was able to get it to LaDontae Henson.
And the tempo more back in Providence's favor, sitting back in this zone, forcing the non-shooters to shoot.
McDonald not able to hit, and Providence can take the lead.
And here they go, Mark, walking the ball up the floor. They're going to run if they can, but if not, run some clock, get the tempo in their favor. And this game has totally changed here. Cotton kept them in it, and now everybody else getting involved in their defense, finally a factor.
Shot clock to 4. Cotton finds the opening and scores.
Come on.
Going glass. Providence up by 2. They've come from 9 down. 28 points for Cotton.
Marcus Page waiting to enter the game. Marv, no shooting on the floor. McDonald really the only three-point shooter for Carolina. He just missed one. So Providence just hacking the paint, sitting back.
Shot was blocked, but a foul. DeRozier making contact with Bryce Johnson on that shot attempt. Providence with their first lead since it was 18-17. Midway through the first half, they have scored 11 unanswered. And the story, the senior, Bryce Cotton. Steve, you and I do this prior to all college telecasts. We warm up the Iowa State club coming up next. Getting ready to face number 14 seed North Carolina Central. Marv Albert along with Steve Kerr, Craig Sager. And the story, as we mentioned, all throughout the second half, Bryce Cotton, he now has 28 points, 7 of 8 from the field in the second half, 15 of his 28 in the second half.
Felt like the game was slipping away from Providence early in this half, and he just took it upon himself to keep his club in it. And finally, in the last few minutes, Providence has gotten a game where they've wanted it all along. A little slower pace, running when they can run, otherwise packing their 3-2 zone or their 2-3 zone. And now Marcus Page back in the ballgame for Carolina. Without much shooting beyond Page, I think there's a lot of pressure on him to make some shots. And, of course, he's done that all season for Carolina.
Let's stop the 11-0 run. Bryce Johnson, only a 61% free throw shooter, connects on both. The game is tied at 60. Just under 8 remaining in the second half. Cotton takes the handoff, runs into 3 Tar Heels.
And they've thrown Providence off here with this 1-3-1 zone. Nowhere to go for Cotton.
And pass thrown by Harris, but deflected out by Page of North Carolina. So Providence with 3 on the shot clock.
What you worry about here, if you're Providence, a quick shot off of the inbounds with this shot clock down could lead to a run out. So you've got to have defensive balance.
That's a kick ball.
Oh, that's a break. That's going to reset the shot clock to 15.
It was a set play by Tyler Harris. Leading
To throw it off the foot. Smart.
Harris gets it into Cotton. Gives himself some more room to operate. Puts a series of moves on. It's kept alive by Providence. It counts in the foul.
Oh, this is who they are. Harris with the offensive rebound, the putback, the foul. They just hang around and they keep fighting you on the glass defensively for loose balls. And you see the block there on McAdoo.
12 points for Harris, looking for number 13. McAdoo called for his third. Three-point play for Tyler Harris. Providence up by 3.
I think Providence will give McAdoo that little foul line shot, or Bryce Johnson. That's where they've gotten the ball. This is the guy they want to keep the ball from, Marcus Page.
And the tip by Johnson, Bryce Johnson. Able to slap it home. Providence up by a point. 6.5 remaining, second half. North Carolina with their first field goal in about 5 minutes. Running around the screen. Rebounded by Johnson. Whips it down. Oh, picked off. Oh, Cotton looking like a defensive back. Able to handle that pass.
That was spectacular.
That's tightly by Johnson.
Carolina back to its man-to-man. They've really changed defenses throughout the second half.
Here's Cotton. Yes! From downtown. It has been a spectacular performance for Bryce Cotton. He now has 31 points. McAdoo lost his balance, called for the travel.
That's the one I'm talking about, Marvin. The first half, Providence was extending out when McAdoo would catch the ball at the foul line. This half, they've stayed back. They've forced him to either make a shot or make a play. Speaking of making a play, how about that look? Bryce Cotton with the steal. Now the step back three. 31 points. Just putting on a show. Back in San Antonio, talk about the adjustment Providence is making against the zone in the first half. Providence was extending out to McAdoo when he would catch the ball at the foul line. This half, they've stayed back. They're daring him to shoot. He's not a confident shooter. That's the adjustment that Cooley made, and that forced the travel there. That was not a natural play. He had a wide open look from 12 feet, but DeRozier stays back and completely out of rhythm. McAdoo travels.
Providence with the ball and a 4-point lead. And add to it as Batts is able to hit. Only 5 points for Kadeem Batts. And it's tipped home. McAdoo with the bucket.
That's been the way they've sort of attacked this Providence zone throughout the game. Offensive rebounds, Mark. But that back basket for Batts, I think, was important. He has not really been involved in this game, and he needed something just to feel good about his own game heading down into the last 5 minutes.
This is Batts getting inside. He scores and a foul, and he's feeling better and better about his own game. Senior out of Boston, he averages 12 points. McAdoo with the foul, number 4 on McAdoo.
Well, now Carolina's got a problem because Cotton is going crazy, but you've got Batts going too, finally. So you've got multiple threats coming at you. Roy Williams has changed defenses constantly because Cotton has just basically picked everything apart.
Biggest lead of the night for the Friars. Backdoor pass, nicely done. And Bryce Johnson with the finish.
And DeRozier just needs to stay back. He just took one step forward, and that created the passing angle. And for McAdoo, and now full court pressure for Carolina.
Good job by Page, got a piece of it. Providence up by 5, coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the second half. The winner here will go on to play the winner of our second game, matching Iowa State, North Carolina Central. Earlier it was Baylor over Nebraska. Creighton led by Doug McDermott with the victory over Louisiana Lafayette. Off the turnover, here's Page open for 3. And a foul call. It is on Providence.
This has been a great game to watch strategically, Mark. Both coaches throwing the kitchen sink at their opponent. All kinds of trapping, changing zones, surprise attacks at half court with pressure. And we got a good one in the last few minutes.
All right, thank you, Ernie. Look at the reset. Each team with 3 timeouts.
Carolina with the ball out of bounds underneath. Remember, we've seen a couple of lob dunks for McAdoo in this game, so Providence has to be ready. And Carolina pulls it out. They'll run their zone offense.
7 minutes ago, North Carolina led by 9. It's a 22-8 run since then for Providence, led by Bryce Cotton.
The length of Harris in this zone has bothered Marcus Page when he's been on this side of the floor.
Shot clock is down to 10. 3.5 remaining. Second half, here's McAdoo on a strong drive. And Bryce Johnson has come off the bench to do an excellent job. He has 16 points.
Really good defense from Providence, Mark, but that was the 17th offensive board for Carolina.
Harris blocked by Johnson. Kokutu able to flip it ahead. Goddard could not hit. Here's Page. Yes! 3-pointer for Page. And the game is tied.
And Marcus Page's parents are thrilled. Ed Cooley can't believe it. Another offensive board that leads to that 3. Providence has to find a way to get a rebound.
So this one goes down to the final minutes. Cotton looking for the screen. Banks try to provide it. Cotton with a deep 3. And he's run into, he's fouled by Page.
And a good call from the official. Page ran right into him. This was Page at the other end. Perfectly in rhythm on that offensive putback. And you see his parents going nuts.
Third foul on Page. Cotton is 4 of 4 at the line, 85% for the season. Take back the planet and take back the skies. Don't miss the all-new season of Falling Skies, Sunday, June 22nd at 10/9 Central on TNT. 32 points. That was a 3-point attempt, so he has 3 shots. So 33 for Cotton, which is a season high. His career high is 34.
I know.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Adrian Payne, I think, had, what, 41 today for Michigan State. So Cotton, or yesterday that was Cotton, now getting close.
Off the spin. Took it to. What a move.
And what a game. This has been spectacular. Tokido now with a chance to tie it. It's a second spin move we saw. Remember early in the first half, he spun and dunked in transition. That was spectacular.
He's only a 49% free throw shooter. Foul was called on DeRozier. That's DeRozier's 4th. The game is tied at 74.
And remember the free throw disparity. Providence number 2 in the country. And North Carolina with the worst foul shooting team in the history of their program. We'll see if that's a factor here in the final couple minutes.
Providence spreading it out. Cotton plays the clock. Just under 2 remaining. Second half. Cotton with room for 3. the line. And the block again by Johnson. And then a foul. So that'll put Hinton at the line.
Boy, this kid Hinton is something. He's about 6'4" at the most. You see Roy Williams, the emotion, trying to get his team to make a stop. But LaDontae Hinton, as he did in the Big East tourney, making huge plays. Like he averaged 17 points and 13 boards in that conference tournament.
5 for 5 at the line today. He has 15 points, 11 rebounds.
And that was an interesting possession. Carolina went zone to try to keep the ball from Cotton. But then on the penetration from Harris on the wing, Cotton ended up wide open. I think the Carolina crowd couldn't believe that that was the man they left open.
He's a 74% free throw shooter. 1-on-1 situation. Dante Hinton, originally committed to Dayton, changed his mind and became Ed Cooley's very first recruit.
Ed Cooley telling us yesterday he could be 0 for 8, 0 for 9 in a game. It doesn't matter. He trusts him in clutch situations. The kid just has belief in himself.
Providence up by 1, just under 2 minutes left in this second half. Toe-to-toe. Looking for McAdoo, but he was well covered.
Providence will shade Page. Somebody's going to make a play.
Toe-to-toe lost it off his foot. Here's Cotton all the way. Cotton, come on. 36 points. And a career high for Bryce Cotton. Timeout, North Carolina.
Cotton is spectacular in transition. Watch the way he uses his body to shield the defender, and then the English off the glass. What a monster game for Bryce Cotton.
Bryce Cotton, senior out of Tucson, Arizona, was MVP of the Big East Tournament. Providence winning it by defeating Creighton. He's now the 5th leading scorer in Providence basketball history, past Marvin Barnes recently. You know, number 1 is Ryan Gomes.
Oh, yeah, of course. And there you see the numbers for Cotton. Unbelievable season. And the senior, the leadership from both Cotton and Batts. To me, they've seemed like the more mature team here today. Carolina has made so many mistakes. In many ways, they've dominated this game, but in the last 10 minutes, the tide turned, and I think that was a result of Providence just hanging around, and they've gotten the game back in their favor.
North Carolina down by 3, coming up on 1 minute remaining. Second half. Page. Marcus Page has hit some huge shots. He now has 19 points in the game, tied at 77.
Beautiful play, drawn up by Roy Williams in that timeout, getting that ball screen for Marcus Page.
Cotton playing the clock down, watched by Page.
You'd think they'd want to get a 2-for-1 here, Mark, but it's getting close. I'm not sure they'll be able to get it.
Strong move, can hit. Rebound Johnson. North Carolina ball, about a second differential between the game clock and the shot clock.
And they will hold for 1.
They are on their feet here in San Antonio. Game tied at 77.
No fouls to give for Providence. The next one is a 1-and-1.
Johnson spinning, banks it. McAdoo, foul call. Basket won't count.
Ed Cooley wanted to travel, but it would be fitting, Marv, if the winning points in this game come off of an offensive rebound. That's where Carolina has dominated.
Foul was called on Carson DeRozier, who has just fouled out.
Cooley wanted to travel right there on Johnson, and he looked like he kept his pivot foot down. But here's the offensive board. It's been an issue all game for Providence. And McAdoo, boy, pressure is on for James Michael McAdoo, who has struggled throughout his career from the foul line.
54% at the line this season, although the North Carolina staff says he has made big free throws at the end of games. These will be his first free throws tonight. They've adjusted the clock, although they're checking it out over the scorer's table. Right now it shows 2.8, as you mentioned.
Yeah, let's take a look at when the whistle is blown right there. So it looks like it's pretty accurate. And I think the key, Marv, he was fouled on the shot, which means he's got 2 shots coming. Just for a 1-and-1, the pressure would be much greater. Well, let's see if McAdoo can knock one of these down in an unbelievable tense situation. What a game.
Unofficially, we have Providence with 2 timeouts remaining. And now they're going to change to 3.5 seconds left. Which is certainly enough time from Providence's point of view.
Meanwhile, McAdoo has been standing here for a full minute thinking about these free throws, and Ed Cooley's going to give him a chance to think for a little while longer.
So we have Providence with 1 timeout left, North Carolina with 3.5 remaining in this second half tie game. So James Michael McAdoo, who, as you mentioned, had much time to think about what is coming up here. 2 free throws, making his first appearance at the line this evening. Only 54% from the line, which is down from last year. He was at 58% last season. He has given North Carolina a 1-point lead.
And that was pure. That was perfect. Ed Cooley called the timeout. The first thing is box out here. Remember, that's been an issue all game.
McAdoo with the rebound. And he is immediately fouled by Cotton with 1.7 left. It appeared Providence had this one put away. Led by the magnificent play of Bryce Cotton, but North Carolina able to come back.
Here's the missed free throw. Somebody has to box out the shooter. Nobody steps in front of McAdoo. Looked like Cotton and Fortune may have been leaking out, thinking they had to advance the ball. But the first order of business is to box out that shooter. And I think that's 20 or 21 offensive rebounds now for North Carolina.
For the Tar Heels, their first lead since it was 58-56 about 9 minutes ago. And with Bryce Cotton on fire, Providence was able to take over. Providence led by 8 with 4.5 remaining.
Boy, Ed Cooley just can't believe it. He had this game exactly where he wanted it down the stretch, and his team really dominated the final 10 minutes. They had it right where they wanted it, but the offensive rebounds just killed them. One led to a putback around the rim. Another led to that 3 that tied the game for Marcus Page. And now here again, more offensive rebound trouble. And the officials, meanwhile, again, checking the clock, trying to make sure they get it right.
Right now, they have 1.7 posted.
Remember, this is a 1-and-1. McAdoo was fouled when he got the rebound. So for Providence,
and we're getting the explanation. Borowski over to give the word to Steve.
Got the word. He said they got it right. He said they started it late, but they stopped it late. And so when they did all the addition and subtraction, he said the number came out right. But for Providence now, not much hope, but you got to just advance the ball up the floor and do have a timeout remaining.
Once again, McAdoo hits the first.
Now, you have to try to make it, obviously. You want to make it a 3-point game, but if you do, Providence, the clock is stopped. Providence can throw the ball past half court and call a timeout.
This one is off. And it could not be handled by Cotton. Went through his hand and out of bounds. It'll be North Carolina ball with 7/10 of a second to go. North Carolina up by 2. And that will do it. The Tar Heels escape with a 2-point victory, 79-77. So despite the display put on by Bryce Cotton, 36 points on 13 for 23, including 3 from downtown, North Carolina pulls it out. They go to 24-9. They've won 13 of the last 15. They've won 12 straight opening road games in the NCAA Tournament. Roy Williams never lost an opening road game in 24 tournament appearances. To see the reaction of Providence head coach Ed Cooley as they drop to 23-12 and they go home. North Carolina advances. And they'll play the winner of our second game between Iowa State and North Carolina Central.